Welcome to Twinkle Talk Bedtime Story.
Little squirrel, what do you see? Little squirrel, what do you see? I see a bright blue jay looking at me. Bright blue jay, what do you see? I see a green frog looking at me. Green frog, what do you see? I see a yellow butterfly looking at me. Yellow butterfly, what do you see? I see a sly red fox looking at me. Sly red fox, what do you see? I see a wise orange owl looking at me. Wise orange owl, what do you see? I see a purple snail looking at me. Purple snail, what do you see? I see a glossy black crow looking at me. Glossy black crow, what do you see? I see a fluffy white rabbit looking at me. Fluffy white rabbit, what do you see? I see happy children looking at me. Pip's sleepy sighs. Pip loved his cozy bed, soft and warm from toe to head. Mama Fluff would tuck him tight, kiss his nose, and say goodnight. Sleep well, my dear, she'd softly say, then tiptoe out and walk away. But shadows danced and whispers grew. What was a little Pip to do? Mama Fluff, a tiny sound, no Mama Fluff was to be found. Mama Fluff came back inside. My sweet Pip, there's naught to hide. I'm just downstairs, I'm close by. Now close your eyes and give a sigh. But soon the quiet grew too deep. Pip couldn't seem to fall asleep. Mama Fluff, a louder cry, please don't leave me, please don't fly. Mama Fluff heard every sound and quickly turned and spun around. She hugged him close, a warm embrace. My little Pip, I'm in this place. I'll stay right here until you sleep, sweet dreams. My love, secrets to keep. Pip's great escapades. Little Pip, a fluffy, curious bunny, looked up at his mother, Willow. Mama, he said, his nose twitching, I think I'm gonna run away. Willow smiled, her eyes twinkling. Oh, Pip, my sweet little one, if you run away, where will you go? Pip thought for a moment, then declared, I'll turn into a little fish and swim far away in the deepest river. Then, said Willow, gently nuzzling his ear, I will turn into a clever otter, and I will swim right after you and scoop you up in my paws. No, if I do that, Pip giggled, I will turn into a little bird and fly high, high up into the sky, where you can't reach me. Then, said Willow, her voice soft as a breeze, I will turn into a strong, warm wind, and I will blow you gently back down to our cozy burrow. Pip bounced with excitement. Then I will become a brave mountain climber and climb the tallest, snowiest peak where no one can follow. Then, said Willow, her smile as bright as the morning, I will turn into a warm, golden sunbeam, and I will melt the snow and show you the way back down. But what if I turn into a tiny, tiny seed, Pip whispered, and hide deep, deep in the ground where no one can ever find me? Then, Willow chuckled, I will turn into a gentle, life-giving rain, and I will water you until you grow into the most beautiful flower in the meadow. Pip thought for a moment, then looked up with wide eyes. What if I turn into a sparkling star and twinkle far, far away in the night sky? Then, Willow said, her voice like a lullaby, I will turn into the biggest, brightest moon, and I will shine my light on you, guiding you always. Pip snuggled close to his mother. I think, he yawned, I'd rather just stay here with you, Mama, right in our cozy burrow. And Willow held him tight, knowing her love would always be enough. Glimmer's sparkle. Glimmer the robot sat on a high shelf, watching children pass by. He longed for a home, a friend, someone to play with. But Glimmer had a secret worry. His special sparkle chip, which made his chest glow, was missing. A little girl named Sky stopped, her eyes wide. "Oh, Mama, look at him," she exclaimed, pointing to Glimmer. "He's perfect." But her mama gently said, "He's not glowing, dear. All the other robots sparkle." Sky sighed, a little sad. That night, when the store was quiet and dark, Glimmer knew what he had to do. He couldn't wait for someone to find his sparkle chip. He had to find it himself. With a soft thud, he carefully dropped from his shelf onto the carpeted floor. The toy department looked very different at night. Shadows danced around the giant building blocks and the colorful dollhouses. Glimmer tiptoed past, peering under every shelf, hoping to see a glimmer of his lost chip. No luck in the toy section. Glimmer decided to explore further. Maybe it had rolled into the soft, fluffy bedding department? He squeezed under a display and whoosh! He tumbled head over heels into a mountain of pillows. Glimmer giggled as he wriggled free from the soft embrace of the pillows. As he looked around, a faint sparkle caught his eye, glinting from under a display table in the next apartment over. Could it be? He carefully navigated through the maze of display stands, past shiny pots and pans, and towering stacks of plates. The store felt enormous, but Glimmer was determined. His sparkle chip was out there. Finally, he reached the spot. He pushed aside a stray dust bunny, and there it was, a small, shiny object. Glimmer picked it up, but it was just a tiny, polished spoon. Not his sparkle chip at all. His light dimmed a little. Just as Glimmer was about to give up, something else caught his eye. Tucked away behind a fallen price tag, a tiny, iridescent chip shimmered softly. "My sparkle chip," he whispered, his own internal light flickering with excitement. With his precious sparkle chip safely in his hand, Glimmer carefully made his way back through the quiet store. He felt a new bounce in his step, knowing he would soon be whole again. As the first rays of morning light streamed through the department store windows, Glimmer was back on his shelf. His sparkle chip was firmly in place, glowing brighter than ever. Soon, the doors would open. And who should be the very first customer through the doors? Sky. Her eyes lit up when she saw Glimmer, sparkling and ready for adventure. "Mama," she cried, "he's perfect." And Glimmer knew he had finally found his home. Lily and the Sparkle Paints. Lily loved to draw, but her drawings always stayed flat on the page. One rainy afternoon, she found a small, dusty box tucked away in her grandmother's attic. Inside, nestled on velvet, was a paint set unlike any she'd ever seen. The paints shimmered with all the colors of a rainbow, and a tiny brush glowed softly. "What beautiful colors," she whispered, carefully picking up the tiny, glowing brush. She dipped it into a pot of shimmering azure and painted a small, fluffy cloud on a blank piece of paper. To her amazement, the cloud puffed out from the page, floating gently above her hand. With a giggle, Lily painted a bright yellow sun. It rose from the paper, radiating a gentle warmth that chased away the attic's chill. "This isn't just paint," she exclaimed. "It's magic." She decided to call her new discovery Sparkle Paints. Lily imagined a little companion for her adventures. With a swirl of crimson and gold, she painted a tiny, cheerful dragon. It had iridescent scales and fluttered its delicate wings, letting out a tiny, happy puff of smoke. "Hello, little friend," Lily said. The dragon, whom she named Ember, chirped happily. Together, they decided to paint a world where anything was possible. First, a winding path of emerald green appeared, stretching into the distance. Along the path, Lily painted tall, whimsical trees with leaves of every color. Apples of amethyst and pears of pearl hung from their branches, ready for a magical snack. Embers zipped around them, delighted. Next, a sparkling river flowed with liquid moonlight, filled with fish that glittered like jewels. Lily painted a sturdy little boat, just big enough for her and Ember, and they hopped right in. They sailed past mountains of marshmallow clouds and through forests where flowers sang sweet melodies. Every stroke of Lily's brush brought new wonders to life, each more enchanting than the last. As the painted sun began to set, casting hues of lavender and rose across their world, Lily knew it was time to return. She painted a cozy little house, and with a final, gentle stroke, they were back in her attic, surrounded by her amazing creations. Lily carefully put her sparkle paints back in their box. She knew that as long as she had her imagination and her magical paints, her world would never be dull. And every day, a new adventure waited, just a brush stroke away. Pip's Great Garden Adventure. Deep under the roots of an old oak tree lived Mrs. Hazel Rabbit and her 4 little bunnies, Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and mischievous Pip. "Now, my dears," said Mrs. Hazel one sunny morning, "you may go into the fields or down the lane, but whatever you do, don't go into Mr. Bartholomew's garden. Your father met with an unfortunate incident there." Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, being good little bunnies, hopped off to gather clover in the lane. But Pip, who loved a good adventure, had other ideas. He wiggled his nose, twitched his whiskers, and with a daring leap, he squeezed under the gate into Mr. Bartholomew's forbidden garden. Oh, the sights and smells! Rows of crisp lettuce, plump red tomatoes, and juicy carrots stretched as far as his little rabbit eyes could see. Pip's tummy rumbled with delight. He nibbled on a sweet carrot, then a tender lettuce leaf, and then, oh dear, he ate so much he felt quite sleepy. He found a cozy spot under a giant cabbage leaf and drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, a loud shout woke him with a start. Aha! A naughty rabbit! It was Mr. Bartholomew, the gardener, with a rake in his hand and a scowl on his face. Pip's heart thumped like a drum. He darted this way and that, past the onion patch and around the gooseberry bushes, with Mr. Bartholomew close behind. He tried to hide in a watering can, but it was full of water. He squeezed under a wheelbarrow, but Mr. Bartholomew nearly caught his tail. Just when he thought he was trapped, he spotted a small, loose plank in the wooden fence. With a burst of energy, he squeezed through. He tumbled out of the garden and didn't stop running until he was safely back in his burrow, panting and very, very tired. Mrs. Hazel gave him a warm hug and a cup of chamomile tea. Pip learned that day that sometimes Mother knows best, and forbidden gardens are best left untouched. The biggest bear hug. Little Bear Bramble snuggled close to Papa Bear Timber in their cozy den. "Papa," he whispered, "guess how much I love you?" Papa Bear Timber rumbled, "Oh, I don't know, little one. How much?" "I love you this much." Bramble stretched his little arms out as wide as they could go. "And I love you this much," Papa Bear Timber said, stretching his enormous arms even wider, almost touching the den walls. "I love you as high as I can reach." Bramble stood on his tiptoes and reached for the ceiling of their den. "And I love you as high as the tallest pine tree in the forest," Papa Bear Timber chuckled, gesturing towards the outside with a paw. Bramble thought for a moment. "I love you all the way to the sparkling river," he declared, remembering their favorite fishing spot. "I love you all the way to the highest mountain peak far beyond the river," Papa Bear Timber replied, his voice deep and warm. Bramble yawned, his eyes getting heavy. "I love you as many stars as there are in the night sky," he mumbled, already half asleep. Papa Bear Timber gently kissed Bramble's forehead. "And I love you from here to the moon and back, little one," he whispered. Bramble was fast asleep, dreaming of mountains and rivers and stars. He didn't hear Papa Bear Timber add, "and all the way around the world and back again and again." Papa Bear Timber held his little cub close. knowing that some loves are simply too big for words, no matter how wide you stretch your arms or how high you reach. Ember's Sparkle Feast. In a land of shimmering scales and whispered winds, a tiny dragon hatchling named Ember poked her nose out of her egg. "Oh, I'm so hungry," she squeaked. On Monday, Ember found one juicy, sparkling sunberry. Munch, 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 it tasted like warm sunshine. On Tuesday, she discovered 2 plump, purple moon grapes. Slurp, slurp, they tasted like cool moonlight. On Wednesday, Ember nibbled on 3 crunchy green leaf apples. Crunch, 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 they tasted like fresh forest air. On Thursday, she gobbled up 4 sweet orange flame oranges. Gulp, gulp, they made her tummy feel warm and cozy. On Friday, Ember munched on 5 bouncy blue cloudberries. Pop, pop, they tasted like a gentle rain shower. On Saturday, Ember was still hungry. She ate 6 shimmering starfruits, 7 golden sun nectar blossoms, and 8 juicy dewdrops. On Sunday, Ember felt very full and sleepy. She found a cozy spot and began to spin a fiery, shimmering cocoon around herself. Inside her fiery cocoon, Ember dreamt of soaring through the skies. She rested and changed, growing new wings and stronger scales. Then, one sunny morning, the cocoon cracked open. Out emerged a magnificent, sparkling dragon, no longer small and hungry, but grand and ready to fly. Leo and the Island of Wobbly Wonders. Leo was having one of those days. His toast popped too high, his shoelaces tangled themselves into knots, and his favorite toy car lost a wheel. Grrr, he growled, feeling a storm brewing inside him. His room, usually a calm haven, began to feel small and prickly. The wallpaper patterns swirled, and his bed became a magnificent, sturdy ship, ready for adventure. "I'll sail away," Leo declared, climbing aboard his bedship, "to where the wildest feelings roam." He grabbed his pillow, which became a sturdy oar, and pushed off into a sea of swirling colors. After a long journey across the wavy, wobbly ocean, a strange island appeared. It was covered in twisty trees and colorful, lumpy hills, and on the shore, something was stirring. As Leo stepped onto the sand, he met Grumble. Grumble had a permanent frown and stomped his feet whenever he felt cross, which was often. "HMPH, Grumble muttered, kicking a pebble. Next, he saw Wibble, a creature who always seemed to be trembling. Wibble worried about everything, from the clouds in the sky to the sand between his toes. Oh dear, Wibble whispered, wringing his hands. And then there was Fizz, who bounced and zipped and couldn't sit still for a second. Fizz's energy was so big, it often made things tumble and crash. "Wee! Zoom!" Fizz shouted, doing a somersault. All the wild things were having their own big feelings, and it was a bit of a muddle. Leo remembered his own stormy feelings from earlier. Perhaps, he thought, we can find a way to make these feelings a little less wild. He showed Grumble how to take 3 deep, slow breaths, turning his frown into a thoughtful pout. He helped Wibble find a smooth, comforting stone to hold, making his worries feel a little smaller. And for Fizz, Leo suggested a special zoom zone where he could bounce and twirl without bumping into anything. Soon the island felt calmer, filled with happy hums and gentle movements. Leo felt a warmth spread through him. He had helped the wild things, and in doing so, his own big feelings had settled. It was time to sail home, where a warm hug was surely waiting. Back in his room, the bed was a bed again, and the sea was his carpet. Leo snuggled into his covers, feeling calm and loved. His big feelings were still there, but now he knew just what to do with them. Good night, little Pipkin. In the soft, quiet glow of twilight, little Pipkin was tucked snugly in his bed. He looked around his cozy room, a special place filled with all his favorite things. "Good night, little moon," he whispered to the silver crescent peeking through the window pane. "Good night, fluffy cloud," he murmured to the painting above his head, a gentle white swirl. "Good night, little wooden train," he said to the toy engine sitting on his shelf, waiting for morning adventures. "Good night, warm, soft rug," he whispered to the sheepskin beside his bed, so nice for chilly toes. "Good night, twinkling stars," he sighed, seeing them through the window, like tiny diamonds scattered across the sky. "Good night, sleepy books," he told the colorful spines lined up neatly, full of stories yet to be read. "Good night, little lamp," he whispered to the soft glow beside his bed, now turned very low. "Good night, quiet chair," he said to the rocking chair in the corner, where Mama Bunny often read him stories. "And good night, my dear Mama," he mumbled as Mama Bunny leaned in to give him a final kiss. Then, with a happy sigh, little Pipkin closed his eyes, ready for sweet dreams until morning light.
Welcome to Twinkle Talk Bedtime Story.
Lumina and the Night's Gentle Glow. Lumina was a tiny, curious creature who loved the sun. All day long, Lumina would explore the brightest meadows, chase butterflies, and play in the warm, golden light. But as the sun began to dip below the hills, a shiver would run through Lumina. The world grew darker, and Lumina's bright eyes would fill with worry. "Oh dear," Lumina would whisper, "here comes the night. It's so dark and quiet. I wish the sun would stay forever." Lumina would often hide away until morning. One evening, a wise old creature named Nimbus, with soft, cloud-like fur and kind eyes, noticed Lumina's fear. Nimbus floated gently closer. "Little Lumina," Nimbus whispered, "why do you hide from the night? It holds its own special magic, you know." Lumina slowly uncurled. "But it's so dark, Nimbus. I can't see anything, and it feels so lonely." Nimbus smiled. "Look closely, Lumina. The night isn't empty at all." Nimbus pointed a soft paw towards the darkening sky. Slowly, Lumina lifted her gaze. One by one, tiny specks of light began to appear, shimmering like scattered diamonds. "Oh!" Lumina gasped. "Stars!" "And look there," Nimbus added, as a soft, silvery glow appeared. "The moon, a gentle lamp for the night." Lumina snuggled closer to Nimbus. The darkness didn't feel so scary anymore. It felt peaceful, filled with quiet wonders. "Thank you, Nimbus," Lumina whispered, feeling sleepy. "The night is beautiful." Soon, Lumina drifted off to sleep, dreaming of shimmering stars and the gentle glow of the moon. And from that night on, Lumina knew that even in the dark, there was always something wonderful to find. The Ugly Duckling. In a cozy nest lived a little creature named Pip. She wasn't fluffy and round like her fluff-wing family. Pip was sleek and had long, graceful wings. The fluff-wings loved to bounce and tumble in the tall grass. Pip tried her best, but her long legs made her wobbly, and her wings just got in the way. When the fluff-wings sang their happy, chirpy songs, Pip's voice was different. It was a soft, melodic hum, not quite fitting with their joyful chorus. She felt a little lonely. One sunny afternoon, feeling a little down, Pip decided to explore. She waddled away from the familiar nest, her heart feeling a bit heavy. She soon came upon a calm, sparkling pond. There, a very old and wise turtle named Sheldon was basking in the sun. Sheldon watched Pip with kind, knowing eyes. "Hello, little one," Sheldon rumbled softly. "Why the long face?" Pip explained how different she felt. Sheldon smiled. "Different isn't bad, Pip. Sometimes, different means extraordinary. Try your wings." Pip hesitated, then stretched her wings. They felt strong and light. With a deep breath, she flapped, slowly at first, then faster, lifting off the ground. Higher and higher she soared, circling above the pond. The wind whistled through her feathers, and the world below looked like a beautiful, tiny painting. She felt free. The fluffwings, playing near the nest, looked up in amazement. "Look," chirped one. "It's Pip. She's flying so high." They had never seen anything like it. Pip landed softly back near her family, a proud smile on her face. The fluffwings cheered, realizing that Pip's uniqueness wasn't a flaw, but a wonderful gift. Pip knew she belonged, just as she was.
Welcome to Twinkle Talk Bedtime Story.
The Little Bear Who Counted the Stars. Deep in the Whispering Woods lived a curious little bear named Twinkle. He loved to explore, but most of all, he loved to gaze up at the night sky. Autumn leaves danced around their cozy den. Mama Celeste, with her warm fur and gentle smile, knew winter was coming. Soon, it would be time for their long, sleepy nap. One evening, as the first few stars twinkled like tiny diamonds, Twinkle snuggled close to his mother. "Mama," he whispered, "how many stars are there? Can we count them all?" Celeste chuckled softly. "Oh, my little one, there are far too many to count all at once, but we can count some of them, special ones, before we go to sleep." Twinkle's eyes lit up. "Really? Show me, Mama." He bounced with excitement, eager to learn this new game. Celeste pointed a gentle paw. "One," she said, indicating the brightest star. "That's our guiding star, always there to watch over us." "Two," Twinkle echoed, pointing to another star nearby. His little finger wobbled a bit, but his gaze was steady. Together they counted 3, 4, 5. Each star a tiny spark in the vast, dark blanket above them. Twinkle felt a warm, peaceful feeling spread through him. Soon, Twinkle's eyelids grew heavy. The stars blurred into a soft, shimmering dream. He nestled deeper into Celeste's fur, feeling safe and loved. "Good night, my little star counter," Celeste whispered, kissing his head. "Sweet dreams until spring." And as the last star they counted faded into the dawn, they drifted into their long winter sleep. The Magical Friendship of a Princess and a Dragon. In a kingdom of shimmering spires and bustling markets lived Princess Alara. She was not like other princesses. While they dreamed of grand balls, Alara dreamed of grand adventures. The kingdom whispered tales of the Shadow Peak Dragon, a fearsome beast said to guard untold treasures and breathe plumes of smoke. Everyone feared it, but Alara felt a different kind of pull, a curious flutter in her heart. "Perhaps," she mused to herself, "the dragon isn't so fearsome after all. Perhaps it's just lonely." With a brave spirit and a secret-packed lunch, Alara set off towards the Forbidden Mountain. The journey was long, through winding paths and whispering forests. Alara hummed a little tune to keep her spirits up, her eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of the legendary creature. Finally, she reached the jagged peaks of Shadow Peak. There, nestled in a vast cave, was the dragon. It was enormous, with scales like ancient emeralds, but its eyes held a deep sadness. This was Cinder. Cinder lifted his head, a low rumble escaping his chest. Alara, though a little nervous, stood her ground. "Hello," she said softly. "My name is Alara. Are you all right?" Cinder blinked, surprised by her kindness. He explained, in rumbling growls that Alara somehow understood, that he wasn't fierce, just misunderstood. He longed for companionship, not conquest. Alara spent the afternoon with Cinder, sharing her stories and listening to his. She learned about his love for shiny pebbles and his quiet joy in watching the sunset. They laughed, a princess and a dragon, in the heart of the Forbidden Mountain. When Alara returned to the kingdom, she tried to tell everyone about Cinder. He's not a monster. He's kind and gentle. But the villagers, steeped in old fears, shook their heads. Then, one day, a terrible storm raged. A great tree fell, blocking the river and threatening to flood the village. Panic spread, and no one knew what to do. Alara, remembering Cinder's strength, raced back to Shadow Peak. "Cinder," she pleaded, "the village needs your help." Without a moment's hesitation, Cinder soared into the stormy sky. With a mighty roar and a gentle push, Cinder moved the fallen tree, clearing the river. The villagers watched in awe as their fears turned to cheers. From that day on, Princess Alara and Cinder were celebrated, proving that friendship can indeed be found in the most unexpected places. The Grumpy Gnome and the Cheerful Fairy. Deep in the Whispering Woods lived Flint, a gnome who hadn't smiled in 100 years. His home was dark, his tea was bitter, and his favorite pastime was grumbling at the moss. One sunny morning, a tiny fairy named Pip fluttered by. Pip was made of giggles and stardust, and her smile was as bright as a sunflower. She saw Flint's frown from afar. "Good morning, Grumpy Gnome," Pip chirped, landing gently on a mushroom near Flint's window. Flint merely grunted, pulling his hat lower. "What's so good about it?" he mumbled. Pip wasn't easily discouraged. "Perhaps a sprinkle of morning dew will help," she declared, gently shaking a dewdrop from a leaf onto Flint's nose. Flint blinked, surprised, but still no smile. The next day, Pip returned. She performed a tiny, wobbly dance on a spiderweb, humming a cheerful tune. Flint watched, a flicker of something almost like amusement in his eyes, but his lips remained a straight line. "Why did the mushroom go to the party?" Pip asked, hovering upside down. Flint raised an eyebrow. "Because he was a fun GI." Pip burst into giggles. Flint let out a small, almost imperceptible puff of air. Pip noticed a small, intricately carved wooden bird on Flint's windowsill. It was beautiful. "Did you make this, Flint?" she asked, genuinely amazed. Flint nodded, a faint blush on his cheeks. "It's wonderful, Flint. You're so talented," Pip exclaimed. Flint had never received such praise. A tiny corner of his mouth twitched upwards, a hint of a smile trying to escape. Pip clapped her hands with delight. "You almost smiled," she cheered. Flint looked at the little fairy, then at his carved bird, and then, slowly, a genuine, if a little rusty smile spread across his face. From that day on, Flint still grumbled sometimes, but his smiles became more frequent. And Pip, the cheerful fairy, always knew how to bring out the sunshine in her grumpy gnome friend. The Enchanted Carousel. In the heart of Willow Creek Park stood a magnificent carousel. Its painted horses, graceful swans, and majestic lions gleamed in the sunlight, waiting patiently for the laughter of children. A new girl named Lily had just moved to Willow Creek. From her bedroom window, she could see the park, and most importantly, the carousel. It looked old, but there was a certain magic about it that caught her eye. Every day after school, Lily would visit the park. She'd sit on a nearby bench, watching other children ride the carousel, listening to its cheerful, tinkling music. She longed to ride, but something held her back. Her favorite was a beautiful unicorn with a shimmering mane and a golden horn. It looked as if it was about to gallop right off its pole and into the sky. Lily imagined soaring through clouds on its back. As dusk settled over Willow Creek, the park would empty. The carousel's music would fade, and its lights would dim, leaving it a silent, shadowy silhouette against the twilight sky. But one evening, something was different. From her window, Lily saw a faint, soft glow emanating from the carousel. Her heart thumped with excitement. She knew she had to investigate. Slipping out of her house, Lily tiptoed through the quiet park. As she got closer, the glow intensified, revealing the carousel spinning slowly, its animals seemingly swaying to an unheard melody. A kind, elderly man with a twinkle in his eye, who introduced himself as Barnaby, emerged from behind the ticket booth. "Welcome, dear Lily," he said with a warm smile. "The carousel has been waiting for you." Barnaby explained that the carousel only truly came to life when the moon was high, and it longed to take children on adventures to magical lands, powered by their dreams and imagination. Lily's eyes sparkled. Without hesitation, she pointed to the unicorn. "I want to ride Sparklehoof," she exclaimed. Barnaby chuckled and helped her onto the shimmering animal. With a gentle whir, the carousel began to spin faster and faster. The music swelled, and then, with a magical lurch, Sparklehoof lifted from its pole, carrying Lily up into the night sky. They soared past twinkling stars and a crescent moon, leaving the quiet town far below. The wind whispered secrets in Lily's ears as Sparklehoof galloped through the celestial expanse. Higher and higher they flew until they reached a kingdom made entirely of soft, fluffy clouds. Castles of mist floated gently, and rainbows arched across the sky. Lily dismounted Sparklehoof, her feet sinking into the bouncy cloud ground. She laughed with delight, feeling lighter than air as she explored the wispy pathways. "Try jumping," Sparklehoof neighed softly, nudging her gently. Lily hesitated, then took a deep breath. She had always been a little shy, but here, in the Cloud Kingdom, she felt brave. With a joyful whoop, Lily jumped. She bounced high into the air, giggling as she floated back down. She felt a surge of courage she hadn't known she possessed. As the first hint of dawn painted the sky, it was time to return. Lily hugged Sparklehoof tightly, promising to remember their adventure. They flew back, leaving the Cloud Kingdom behind. With a gentle bump, Sparklehoof landed back on the carousel. The magical glow faded, and the music softened, as if the carousel was settling down for a long day's rest. Lily thanked Barnaby, her heart full of wonder. She slipped back home, the secret of the enchanted carousel tucked safely in her heart. Back in her bed, Lily closed her eyes. She knew the carousel was just a carousel to others, but for her, it was a gateway to endless adventures, and she couldn't wait for the next moonlit night. The Gingerbread Man and the Sweetest Friend. In a cozy kitchen where the scent of cinnamon always danced, lived a kind gingerbread man named Pip. He loved to bake, but sometimes he wished he had a friend to share his delicious creations with. One starry evening, Pip decided to bake something truly special. He carefully mixed flour, ginger, and a sprinkle of magic, shaping the dough with great care. Into the warm oven went his creation. Pip watched patiently, his heart filled with hope, as the sweet aroma filled the air. Ding! Out popped a brand new gingerbread friend, perfectly golden and smelling wonderful. "Hello, Crumble," Pip exclaimed, his eyes twinkling with joy. Crumble blinked his sugary eyes and smiled. He was a little shy but very happy to meet Pip. Together, they decided to explore the quiet kitchen. First, they tiptoed past the sugar jar, which looked like a giant, sparkling mountain. Crumble giggled, imagining sliding down its sweet slopes. Then, they climbed onto a stack of warm, freshly baked cookies. "What a cozy hill," said Pip, as they snuggled into the soft, sweet cushions. They discovered a forgotten teacup, just the right size for a little gingerbread boat. They imagined sailing across a sea of warm milk. As the moon peeked through the window, Pip and Crumble found the perfect spot for bedtime. A soft, warm towel draped over a mixing bowl. "Good night, Crumble," whispered Pip. "Good night, Pip," whispered Crumble back. And as the kitchen grew quiet, two little gingerbread friends drifted off to sleep, dreaming sweet, sugary dreams. Who Lost His Twinkle? A heartwarming story about a little star who goes on an adventure to find his missing twinkle, only to discover it was inside him all along. High above the sleepy earth lived a little star named Aster. Aster loved to twinkle. Every night he would shine his brightest, sending happy sparkles down to the world below. But one morning, something was wrong. Aster woke up and felt dim. He tried to sparkle, he really did, but nothing happened. His beautiful twinkle was gone. "Oh dear," he whispered. "What shall I do?" Aster flew to the wise old moon, Chandra, who had seen many sunrises and sunsets. "My twinkle is gone, Chandra," Aster cried. Chandra listened patiently. "Sometimes, little one," she said softly, "the brightest light is not found, but remembered." Aster didn't quite understand, but he knew he had to try. He decided to go on an adventure to find his missing sparkle. He zoomed off, determined. Soon he met a speedy comet named Blaze. "Have you seen my twinkle?" Aster asked. "Perhaps it's caught in the sparkling nebula," Blaze suggested, pointing with his tail. Aster flew into the beautiful, swirling nebula. It was full of dazzling colors and glittering dust, but no matter how hard he looked, his twinkle wasn't there. Next, he spotted a majestic planet with shiny rings, Kronos. "Excuse me, Kronos," Aster called. "Could my twinkle be hiding in your magnificent rings?" Kronos allowed Aster to search, and Aster carefully explored every sparkling ring. But alas, his twinkle was nowhere to be found. Aster felt a tear well up. Feeling very small and lost, Aster drifted by a lonely, gray asteroid named Lithos. Lithos looked even sadder than Aster felt. Aster forgot all about his own sadness. "Oh, dear Lithos," he said gently. "Why are you so sad?" He nudged Lithos kindly, and then a tiny warm spark flickered deep inside Aster. Aster gasped. His twinkle wasn't lost at all. It had been inside him, waiting for him to share his kindness. With a whoosh, his sparkle burst forth, brighter and happier than ever before. He had found his twinkle, not by searching, but by caring. The Boy Who Dreamed in Colors. In a quiet little town lived a boy named Pip. Pip wasn't like other children who dreamed of toys or adventures. Pip dreamed in colors. Not just any colors, mind you. His dreams were a swirling, sparkling kaleidoscope of every shade imaginable. Reds that danced, blues that hummed, yellows that giggled, and greens that whispered secrets. One morning, as the sun peeked over the rooftops, something peculiar happened. A tiny, shimmering streak of rainbow appeared on Pip's windowsill, like a forgotten brushstroke from the night. Pip rubbed his sleepy eyes. Did I leave my paintbrushes out? He wondered, but he didn't own any paintbrushes. He touched the colors, and they felt like morning dew, cool and bright. The next morning, it was even bigger. A magnificent arc of rainbow stretched from his bedroom window, over the roof, and gently touched the old oak tree in his garden. Soon the townspeople started to notice. Mrs. Gable, who always watered her petunias at dawn, gasped. Mr. Henderson, on his way to the bakery, stopped dead in his tracks. Pip watched from his window, his heart thumping like a drum. He hadn't meant for his dreams to escape. What if everyone thought it was strange? What if they didn't like the colors? But then he saw someone approaching his house. It was old Mrs. Periwinkle, known for her kind smiles and even kinder words. She wasn't frowning, she was beaming. "Oh, Pip, my dear," she called out, her voice soft and gentle. "These colors are the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Are they yours?" Pip, a little shyly, nodded. "They're from my dreams." Mrs. Periwinkle clapped her hands. "From your dreams? How wonderful. Our town has always been a little gray, but now it's bursting with joy." Other townspeople gathered, their faces now filled with smiles and awe. Encouraged by their delight, Pip began to dream even bigger, even brighter. Each night, his dreams painted a new masterpiece across the town, turning ordinary walls into canvases of wonder. Soon, the quiet little town was no longer gray. It was a rainbow haven, a place where every corner held a splash of magic, all thanks to the boy who dreamed in colors, Pip. The Mermaid's Lullaby. Deep in the shimmering blue ocean lived Coralia, a mermaid with a heart as warm as the sunbeams that pierced the waves. Her voice was her most precious gift, a gentle melody that brought peace to all who heard it. As twilight painted the surface in hues of lavender and gold, the ocean floor was still a flurry of activity. Crabs scuttled, fish darted, and octopuses played hide and seek. It was a wonderful but very noisy place. Coralia watched her friends, their energy boundless. They need a little help finding their sleepy dreams, she thought, a soft smile gracing her lips. She found a quiet spot amongst the swaying anemones. Then, Coralia began to sing. Her voice, like liquid moonlight, drifted through the water. It was a lullaby, ancient and sweet, a song woven from the ocean's own gentle whispers. First, a grumpy old pufferfish, who usually huffed and puffed all night, felt a wave of calm wash over him. His spines softened, and his eyes grew heavy. Next, a school of tiny, energetic clownfish, who had been chasing each other all evening, began to slow their playful dance. They nestled into their cozy anemone home, one by one. Even a busy seahorse, who was always collecting shiny pebbles, paused his work. He yawned a tiny, bubbly yawn and curled his tail around a piece of seaweed, drifting off to sleep. The majestic sea turtle, usually on a long journey, found a soft patch of sand. He tucked his flippers in, closed his ancient eyes, and dreamt of warm currents. Soon, the entire ocean grew quiet. The bustling became still. The darting became dreaming. Coralia's lullaby had worked its magic, bringing peace to every corner of the deep. With a happy sigh, Coralia felt her own eyelids grow heavy. Her job was done. She drifted softly onto a bed of soft moss, her lullaby fading into a silent, sweet dream until the morning sun would wake the world anew. The Moon's Bedtime Story. "Hello, little ones," whispered the moon, a soft silver glow spreading across the night sky. "It's me, Luna, watching over you as the world gets ready for sleep." First, the little fox, Flicker, tucks his bushy tail around himself, finding a cozy spot beneath a whispering oak tree. His day of playful pounces and curious sniffs is done. Mama bird and Papa bird gather their little one, Pip, close in their nest high in the branches. They sing a quiet lullaby, a rustling song of leaves and gentle breezes. Papa bird watches over them, his feathers ruffled slightly by the evening air, ensuring all is safe and sound before he too closes his eyes for the night. Down by the quiet river, a little boat bobs gently on the water, its sails furled, dreaming of new adventures when the sun returns. The river itself slows its flow, a sleepy murmur. The flowers in the garden fold their petals, one by one, like tiny hands closing for a peaceful rest. They drink in the cool night air, preparing for the morning's dew. Even the busy bees, after a day of buzzing from bloom to bloom, are tucked away in their hive, dreaming of sweet nectar and golden honey. And in a cozy bed, a little girl named Alara snuggles deep under her blankets, her favorite teddy bear held tight. Her eyelids are heavy, her breathing soft and even. The world is quiet now, a symphony of soft snores and gentle sighs. All creatures, big and small, are safe in their slumber, guided by my watchful light. So close your eyes, little one. Drift off to dreamland, knowing that I, Luna, will be here, shining bright until the sun wakes you with a brand new day. Sweet dreams. The Secret of the Whispering Willow Tree, a magical story about a group of animal friends who discover a secret world hidden inside an old willow tree. Deep in the Whispering Woods lived three best friends, Renard the curious fox, Brock the cautious badger, and Pip the playful squirrel. Their favorite spot was near an ancient, gnarled willow tree. The willow was known for its long, drooping branches that seemed to whisper secrets in the wind. But to the friends, it was just a grand old tree, perfect for games of hide and seek. One sunny afternoon, while playing near its roots, Renard noticed something peculiar. A faint, shimmering light seemed to pulse from deep within the tree's bark. Pip, always quick to investigate, scampered up the trunk. "Look," they chittered, pointing a tiny paw at a small, almost invisible opening hidden amongst the rough bark. Brock, ever the careful one, peered at the dark opening. "It looks a bit spooky," he rumbled. But Renard's eyes sparkled with adventure. Only one way to find out what's inside. One by one, they squeezed through the narrow entrance. Inside, they found not darkness, but a winding tunnel bathed in a soft, ethereal glow. It felt as if they were stepping into a dream. The tunnel opened into the most breathtaking place they had ever seen. A vast, cavernous world stretched before them, illuminated by bioluminescent plants and sparkling crystals. Glowing flowers bloomed in impossible colors, and tiny, shimmering streams flowed over polished stones. The air hummed with a gentle, magical energy. From a high perch, a pair of wise, golden eyes watched them. It was Olwen, the ancient owl, guardian of the Whispering Willow's heart. "Welcome, little ones," she hooted softly. Olwen explained that the willow tree was a keeper of dreams, a place where the forest's hopes and wishes were nurtured until they were ready to bloom in the world outside. The friends promised Olwen they would protect the secret of the Whispering Willow, understanding the importance of its magic. They felt a new sense of responsibility and wonder. As they emerged from the tree, the world outside seemed brighter, more vibrant. The Whispering Willow now held a special magic for them, a secret whispered on the wind, forever in their hearts. The sleepy sloth who wouldn't go to bed. In the heart of the emerald jungle lived a little baby sloth named Pip. While all the other jungle creatures were getting ready for their long, peaceful sleep, Pip was wide awake. "Time for bed, my little leaf lover," whispered his mama Willow, her voice as soft as a cloud. She gently nudged him towards their cozy sleeping branch. But Pip just giggled. "No, Mama, I want to play. The night is just beginning, and I don't want to miss anything." He watched as fireflies danced like tiny stars, and the moon cast long, silvery shadows. "What can I do now?" he wondered, as the jungle grew quieter and quieter. Pip decided to try swinging on a long, bouncy vine. Whoosh! He swung, but his movements were getting slower, and his grip wasn't as strong as usual. He almost slipped. Next, he tried to count all the leaves on a nearby tree. 1, 2, 27. Wait, was that 27 or 28? He kept losing his place. A big, wide yawn stretched across his face, but Pip quickly covered his mouth. No, 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 I'm not tired, he insisted, though his eyelids felt heavier than coconuts. Mama Willow peeked over from her sleeping branch, a soft smile on her face. Even the busiest bees need their rest, my sweet Pip, she murmured gently. Pip's head began to nod. He tried to keep his eyes open, but they just wouldn't listen. The jungle sounds, which had seemed so exciting, now sounded like a lullaby. He tried one last game, pretending to be a speedy jungle cat, but his prowl was more of a slow, sleepy crawl, and he kept bumping into branches. Finally, Pip couldn't fight it anymore. He found the softest, warmest spot on a branch, curled into a little ball, and let out a tiny, happy sigh. Mama Willow watched over her sleeping baby, a loving gaze in her eyes. Pip was finally dreaming sweet jungle dreams, ready for a brand new, energetic day tomorrow.